So we were working with Cornell University over in Long Island, and they've been pulling up abandoned lobster pots off the bottom of Long Island Sound for about 10 years. And these are those plastic coated pots with the galvanized metal and the plastic ropes. And they're all starting to break down and shed microplastic. They're also trapping a lot of wildlife. You have lobsters and blackfish or tautog are the primary ones that are being captured. And we're looking to get a similar effort going in the state of Connecticut. So keep your eye out for that. They think there's 700 to 1.3 million pots still on the bottom, still fishing right now and decaying and releasing all that plastic. And you don't see it, right? That's why I put this slide in here. There's a lot of impacts to plastic. Once it goes out of sight, it's out of mind. Those pots are underwater. And I used to be a marine mammal strander for a number of years. And I got a report of a sperm whale on a remote beach in my jurisdiction. So we flew out and landed. And lo and behold, this whale had a big plastic net wrapped around its lower jaw as a sperm whale, obviously with the teeth. And then it washed out the next day. So if I hadn't been there in that point in time, we would have never known. Now, did the net kill the whale? Potentially. We can't really tell, it's so decayed. But a lot of the impacts of microplastics and derelict fishing gear and just trash that we don't see is occurring. So how do we deal with that? We need good policy and leadership at the federal, state, and municipal level. And this is Senator Murphy, and he's got a bill called Healthy Oceans 2.0. And among other things that it does, it's going to dramatically increase funding for marine debris. So keep an eye out for those types of bills, comment on them, support the leaders that take that seriously. And we need to remember that why do we do this? Because we share this planet with all kinds of animals and wildlife and each other. This is a Laysan albatross chick that was fed Bic lighters and bits and pieces of plastic. There were probably some styrofoam, and it starved to death. Now, when I was on Kauai, it's my one Kauai photo, I got to visit an albatross colony that a friend of mine working with Cornell guarded from feral cats and dogs. They had some fencing and they had cameras. And these birds are completely prehistoric. They do not fear people. You can walk right up to them. They don't care. And what actually happened in this photo, that's my son, as all the adults got up and formed a circle around him and started dancing and clacking and singing. I would have put the movie on there, but I was a little nervous about the Zoom settings that we'd crash the whole thing. So it's just an intense connection. So thinking of that little chick there and seeing this chick here it's fairly painful. So that's a broad overview. And I just want to recap what we can do. So the 4 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse. You get that peanut butter jar, clean it out, put your nails or your screws in there, put it in your shop. We need to stop the flow though. That's the main issue. And the circular economy is a concept that will do that. You design out the waste. I'll give you one more example of that. I saw a presentation last week where 6 tons of powdered glass could be substituted in the cement making process that usually Portland Cement uses, and would reduce CO2 output by 1 ton. So all these kind of concepts and technologies can really help us out. Everybody here can join a beach or river cleanup. I'm sure many of you do. We actually have these undersea cleanups. I mentioned we're going to try and get some pot cleaning programs going, but there's also scuba divers that are part of our beach cleanup that will go underwater and pull trash out, support the single-use bans, and then get involved in green infrastructure, either in your own house or support groups like ours or others that are doing this type of work. Talk to your municipal leaders about it. If you have a pretty bad river in your area, think about putting in an interceptor or maybe even a stormwater utility. Look at the services provided by your stormwater system, and maybe there's a way to capture that waste and that pollution before it heads out. Look for innovative ways to fund those projects. Everybody can go out and go online and order a filter today. If you want, put one on your washing machine. That's something quick you can do. And again, just to recap, support the people who are leading us, who are going to try and solve the problem, that are coming up with issues, solutions to the problems. So I wanted to leave some time for questions. And I'm open to any that you may have. Thank you.
Folks, remember to post your questions to chat. And while you're thinking about those, let me read a couple of questions that have already come in. First of all, the first question was, would Save the Sound be looking at legislation requiring manufacturers of washers and dryers to put filters in any way in any of the new machines, and perhaps offering filters with information on how to install those in machines that folks already have?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think it's a great idea for legislation. The one thing I did learn about when we were in the microfiber working group that Connecticut Deep hosted is that it's always very tricky to get consensus among industry. But I think that's a fantastic idea. It's something we should explore, because I think it would be a huge step in removing one of the sources.
Okay. Another question that came in had already been answered, but I want to share it with the group. The question was, I understand organized cleanups cannot be held in 2021 because of COVID and the liability to the association. How can we circumvent or make cleanups happen? And Tony had addressed the question earlier that, again, it's something that Save the Sound is looking very seriously at. But they're going to do another cleanup actually starting this, I guess, this weekend. Bill, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but obviously it's a concern.
Yeah, well, Anthony, if you want to address that one.
Yeah, sure. So tomorrow we're actually teaming up with Patagonia and Future Frogmen to do the first virtual cleanup. And Bill's actually going to be a part of that one too. That's starting at 7 p.m. I put the link in the chat if folks want to RSVP and join us for that. You'll see a similar presentation to this during that, but you'll also get instructions on how to participate in this new format of cleanup. And essentially, whereas normally in a cleanup we would all gather together at the beginning in person and then go out to our different spots along the coast of the river to clean up. In this case, we'll gather together virtually and then go out into our respective communities and post our results and share our results through social media and other data collection. So that starts tomorrow, 7 p.m. and it runs for a week. You'll have a week to go out and do that.
And I'll leave the meeting open for a couple of minutes after we close with Q&A, just so folks can click on that link that Anthony's provided. There was another question regarding the slides. Can the slides be available online? Actually, what we'll do is I will drop the slides down into a PDF document and then work with Bill and Anthony to get those out to everyone who's online with this meeting this afternoon. Another question that's come in, are the beach cleanups still seeing a lot of bottle bill material? And if so, do you think higher deposits like 10-cent deposits would reduce the litter?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, there's strong evidence from other states that when you modernize the bottle bill to reflect a real cost, I mean, a nickel, that's been around forever, and the value of that nickel's gone down over time as cost of living is raised. So that's critical. We work with our partners, not directly on that, but we support like Citizen Campaign for the Environment, among others, are big leaders in that. And we do have some allies in the state legislature. It just every year it seems to get beat back. But once the bottle bill gets modernized, we have all this data that's been collected, and I think we're going to see a very quick reduction in returnables. And that includes nip bottles and water bottles, a lot of bottles that may not be wine bottles that may not have deposits on them now. That would be part of the modernization.
Great, thanks. I know there's been a couple of questions that just came in regarding either the name of the washing machine filters, or is there a recommendation for any particular washing machine filters? I know Anthony has addressed that in his answer. Bill, I don't know if you had any additional information on the washing machine filters, but again, this is I mean, if we are able to develop information about that, we can certainly get that out to everybody, you know, at a later date with another document I'm going to be talking about and sending to you.
Yeah, that would be the way to address it. We'll just have it in the resource list. Thanks, Mike.
Another statement here, question. I do cleanups a few times a week and track what I pick up on the Clean Swell app from Ocean Conservancy. Do you have any plans to create an app like that, or at least funnel people to their app for data? It makes it very easy to track, and teens love using it.
I've used Marine Debris Tracker. There's some other ones, but maybe Anthony, I know we were developing one, but there has been discussion since there are a few marine debris cleanup apps. I don't know, Anthony, if you have anything to add to that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, we don't actually use those for our cleanups. Primary reason being that we don't see the data. It doesn't all aggregate, and we can't pull it down, so we wouldn't be able to track the impact specifically from our cleanups and the Connecticut cleanups. It would all sort of just automatically be aggregated by Ocean Conservancy or whoever runs the app. So we do it differently for the virtual, but we do share all of our data with Ocean Conservancy. So they get all of our data, and it's incorporated into all of their global numbers as well. But for the virtual cleanup, for instance, we're actually going to be using the Ocean Conservancy's form, but it's going to be put into a Google form so that folks can fill it out from wherever they are.
Okay, great. Let me just review here for some other. I know that Kara, I see that Anthony has addressed your question regarding the application. Another question that came in, does Save the Sound do any educational presentations at the elementary school level? Instilling these principles in early childhood inhibits the perpetuation of littering and promotes the 3 R's and reduces single-use plastics.
We do some. There's a lot of organizations that do education as part of their mission. And as an organization, we don't do it on a regular basis because there are so many other people doing it. But it's not a lot of us are very busy, but especially if there's a staff member in a local area, I've done a few presentations, so we are at times open to it. Yeah.
I might add that on the Sustainable Ethics Committee, we have at least one individual with a tremendous amount of background in environmental education. She's also either an elementary school or middle school teacher. So why don't we take that back to our committee and see if we can provide you know, a broader response to that. There may be some specific programs that can be facilitated by individuals or community organizations that are already pre-built for that age group. So we'll take that back and we'll see what we can do for that. That seems to be it. Let me just scroll back up and make sure I'm not missing anything. I know a number of folks have had to drop off. There's a recommendation or a request from one of our participants today. Please support Break Free from Plastic Pollution Act 2020. And the recommendation is to go to beyondplastic.org and then also microplasticmadness.org. So again, we'll leave the meeting open for just a second so folks can copy that down. But sounds like a couple of good recommendations there, particularly from a policy side that, Bill, you've been talking about a couple times.
Yep, yep. We actually had the leader of Beyond Plastics on a call a few weeks ago. Amazing woman, ex-EPA or past EPA administrator, just incredible. You know, and on that note too, if you're not familiar with Save the Sound, you can go to our website and become a member. You can either just get emails from us, or you can choose to, pay $25 and become a paying member, and then you'll start being updated on all this stuff that we're doing that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. But yeah, all these groups need support right now for sure.
Okay. Well, I think I've seen the questions slow down, so let me close with a couple of thoughts. Again, before we adjourn, Bill, I want to thank you again for really what was a great presentation, really great practical advice, and we also thank you and Anthony and everybody in your organization for all the love and the stewardship that you provide for Long Island Sound. It's really wonderful. I also want to give a quick shout out to Ann Thompson of the Essex Library. Sometimes they seem to be functioning in the background, but they've been wonderful partners of ours at Sustainable Essex in helping us build and bring forward this discussion series, which we hope is something that we're going to continue for quite a while. And having said that, I also want to thank the other members of Sustainable Essex for all of their support with moving this forward. But finally, I want to thank all of you who have been participating today. Thanks for your willingness to learn about this really important issue. Thanks for your love of this wonderful Long Island Sound area that we call home. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be sending out a document that provides links to additional resources. And I think, again, it's clear that what we want to do is work with Bill and Anthony on that, make sure that includes some of the great recommendations that they have. So that'll be out in a few days or so. But I've got everyone's email address, and we'll get that out to you. We'll also be getting, as I mentioned before, a copy of Bill's presentation out in a PDF format to everyone, so it's easy to use. The resources document that I'm going to send you will include also some links to YouTube videos, some other informative articles, etc. So be on the lookout for that. And one thing I do want to stress before we close, and that is we have a link to a short survey in that resources document, and I mean short. It only takes 3 to 5 minutes at the most. And your feedback is really, really important to us. I mean, the feedback we've gotten today from you and the directions that's moving us in is really crucial to making this discussion series viable and effective at the local and the community level. So please make sure that you take just a couple minutes to complete that survey. And we do act on people's feedback. Again, it's really important to us. I'm just going to see if there's anything else here with chat before we leave. And again, I'm going to leave the meeting up for just a moment so that you have access to the chat window. And again, there's that link that Anthony provided before. Also, some additional information about beyondplastics.org and Stop the Microplastic Madness, etc. So give you a chance to copy those down. So with that, thank you once again, Bill and Anthony, for all of your help and great presentation. Thanks to all of our participants for being part of this today. And be on the lookout. We're going to be doing 2 more sessions in 2020. Those are currently in the planning phase right now, but be on the lookout. We'll notify you regarding when those sessions will take place and what the topic will be. So be on the lookout for that. And enjoy the July 4th holiday weekend, and please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for your involvement.
Yeah, thanks for hosting, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sustainable Essex. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.